Hello and welcome to Tech with Heart. I am your host, Michelle Calloway, and we are talking on the Tech with Heart show, which is all about empowering and enlightening entrepreneurs to embrace technology, systems, and strategies that are going to help you stay competitive and relevant in a rapidly changing digital environment. Today's topic, hacking. So are you unhackable? That is the question that we're going to talk about today. It is more than just being vulnerable in your online world. We are talking about hacking digitally and also mentally. So with that, I have a very special guest. She is just amazing. She blew my mind. That's why she's on this Tech with Heart show today, because I am so impressed by her and her resiliency. Her name is Elayna Fernandez, and she is a best-selling author, an international speaker, and a self-made mompreneur. So you're going to hear her story and you're going to be like jaw dropping, because what she has accomplished, seriously guys, there will be zero excuses for you to come up to and say, oh, this is why I can't do that. Not today. No, are you unhackable? In life and in business? I'm telling you, she's already done some amazing things. Her story, if you get to know her, she's an author. You should really just go check out her book. I'm telling you, I don't rave like this very often, but this woman, impressive. So she's going to talk to us today about how she's personally experienced hack, like at the deepest core level. Oof, you're going to be amazed. And then also how she now empowers others to protect themselves and also to process through the trauma that does ensue when you do get hacked, especially a really big, serious hack. And then she's also figured out how she can teach others her resiliency so that she can teach them too how to become unhackable. She's got major accolades. She's been featured on the Good Morning America show. She's been featured in the news and in Success Magazine. So please help me welcome to the stage, Elayna.
Thank you so much, Michelle. That was such a generous introduction. And I am equally impressed by you. I think we're soul sisters. I'm really, really excited to be with everyone today. Thank you.
Well, we're excited to hear what you have to say. I would love for you to just start this episode with sharing just enough of the tidbits about this jaw-dropping hack that happened to you and just how close it was to your core of a being, a human being. So please share.
Thank you so much. You know, it's really hard to share stories like this because it really touches you to the core. But it all started, I came back from a press trip. So I'm an online influencer. So my whole life is on social media. It's on my blog. It's on my website. And I wake up to see that my website was all in Chinese characters. So imagine right now that what you've been working for 15 years, my blog is now 18, so it's an adult, but 15 years of my life gone. And it's completely out of my reach, it's completely unrecognizable. And in that moment, I thought inaccessible. And I just dropped to my knees. I was just really sick to my stomach. You know, one of the ways that we know that we're grieving is that we'll feel it in our body. And I just felt like my world was over because my whole business depends on technology, depends on my website, depends on everything that I had on there. And, you know, I started to find answers. I started to look for ways. And, you know, in that moment, I started to talk to my hosting company, and I realized that I didn't really have anything in place for something like this happening. I was just, you know, living in my world, feeling that I was safe, feeling that my world was secure, feeling that my business was thriving, and boom, in a matter of a second, I see it all crawling, falling, crashing down. So, to make the long story short, because I could tell you everything that happened in between, but then I find out that all of this and many other things, like hacking into all of my passwords, hacking into all of my bank accounts, hacking into everything that I used online, had been exposed to the dark web, even my children's information. So I was actually locked out of everything. I couldn't even purchase groceries at the grocery store because everything was blocked. And this sounds horrible, but it's even more horrible when you find out that it's your husband that's doing this, that the person that I've been married to, that is, the father of my two children, that he actually did all of this and sold our information to the dark web. I didn't even know what the dark web was. Have you even imagined what the dark web is? Many of you are probably finding out right now what the dark web is. It's a place where your information is up for grabs. It's auctioned to people that buy it so that they can then commit cybercrime. So this is what happened to me. Can you imagine, Michelle?
No, when you first told me the story, my jaw just dropped. And I mean, it's hard enough. I just got an email today from a client who said, so sorry to bother you, but my wife and I, our identity was hacked. And so now we have to get all new credit cards, all new phones. And so here's my new information. And I just felt for him, especially after having just had this conversation with you the other day. Being hacked is like every small business owner, and actually every person's worst fear, because we want to be able to embrace technology. That's what Tech with Heart's all about, is embracing technology, but we want to also be smart enough about it that we are protecting ourselves. But most average Joe small business owner do not really fully understand what exactly that looks like or what that even entails. And so it is a frustration. And so therefore, a lot of people are just left locked in fear, and they're like, I don't want to do business online. But if you don't do business online in a rapidly changing digital environment like we're finding ourselves in, you're seriously losing out. And in time, I mean, in a very short period of time, you will likely be out of business. The pandemic proved that model. So I wanted to have you on today to talk about, like, what did you then do? I mean, so you got hacked by the closest person in your life. That just right there sets all kinds of red flags off on trauma. That is just overwhelming. How did you move through that and be able to overcome that to the point now where you're using that as your leverage to grow your mompreneur business? Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yes, thankfully, I was able to overcome that and to recover my information. And I worked with a lot of amazing people to recover my data. I did lose a lot on my website. And unfortunately, everything on my computer was lost. So it has been a journey of, wow, I don't have this manuscript that I wrote, my book that I wrote, I lost it. These pictures of my girls and I, these videos, this, everything. So one of the things that really helped me was to acknowledge that I was going through a loss and to accept that loss. And that is really huge. I think that that's, really the main key after you're hacked. But I also gained awareness to help people that have not been hacked so that they can avoid being hacked. Because one of the things that was harder for me is to know that this was preventable. To know that, even though we're all vulnerable online, we all have the capacity to avoid a lot of those vulnerabilities. And actually, a lot of those safety measures are so easy to implement, and sometimes they don't even take a lot of time. So, in hindsight, I could have, should have, would have done these things, but that's why I'm here with you today, because it doesn't have to happen to you. It doesn't have to, and if it does, then it's less, it's not compounded. So, that's what being unhackable is all about. It's being empowered. And I created an acronym for this called ACE, so that you can ace the test of being unhackable. And it's one, being alert. So staying alert to what's going on online, and not scrolling like a zombie, which I have done a lot of times. And the C is conscious with every action that you take online. And the E is why we're here. And this is why your network is so powerful. It's being equipped with knowledge, with relationships, with tools, with resources that empower us then to not have to suffer this. And if we ever went through this, then to have those resources to help us recover.
Another thing too that was so impressive with you is that obviously you've dealt with an incredible great loss, because you're dealing with loss of information, but then you're also doing loss of trust with the person that you thought you could trust the most. So that's like a whole nother level of processing through grief and trauma. And then I know your personal story. I know that you've overcome a tremendous amount of adversity that most of us wouldn't even in our darkest dreams ever think of. And so you now have more of an unhackable personal spiritual kind of approach to just life anyway, which empowers you to still storms come in life, and yes, you blow in the wind of the storm, but you don't topple over as easily because of all of the hacking that you've already had done to you, even outside of your control, through even childhood up into adulthood. I mean, it's just amazing. You guys got to really check out her book, and we will put a link to that not only in the description of this post, but also in our blog that we're going to do later next week. So here's the thing is that can you share with us a little bit of your spiritual mental mentality around the idea of you as a human becoming and choosing to be unhackable? Can you just kind of give us a little glimpse of what that looks like?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for saying that. And, I think that the main thing that I am going to share before I share my story is that we as humans, we don't choose what happened to us, but we choose what we do with that. And so that is the mentality that I have adopted. And it's an unhackable mentality because I'm firmly rooted in my faith. That's number one for me, is to know that I'm not alone, and to know that there is always power that I have reach for, and that I can reach within for. And that, for me, it has been just really, really incredible, growing up in a slum in extreme dysfunction, and then, just all of the things that I've been through in my life, surviving cancer and surviving an 8-day coma. And, I could give you such a long list, and yet, just hanging on to my faith has been really the power of everything that I do, because I cannot choose my thoughts. I'm not powerful enough to choose what comes in, to choose what happens to me. It's all out of my control. I'm not God. I'm not the general manager of the universe, and neither are any of us. However, I can choose or reject the thoughts that are coming. I can choose or reject the path that's before me. And that is what being unhackable is. And that's why, when this happened, I didn't just sit there and blame myself. And you were mentioning, Michelle, like, oh, some of us don't know technology. I know technology. I know code. My business is online. I had no choice but to run my business online. And yet this happened because, I didn't know what I didn't know. So forgiving ourselves for not knowing what we didn't know and doing something with what we know now. I think that is the main key. If any of us are vulnerable, I mean, think of that. We put we do our banking, we do our plane tickets, we do our business emails, even people that have dating profiles, our medical records, everything is online. So making friends with it and knowing that we can create something wonderful is going to really, I think, buffer that fear. I still have fear. I still feel the jitters. I still feel, a bit unsafe. And that's okay. That's going to happen. And then I remember my purpose. Why am I doing this? Who am I going to help? What is going to be possible because I'm putting my business online? And what we're going to talk about, what are the things that I can put in place so that I'm safe? And I'll tell you a little thing. And it's that because of the car accident that I had and other experiences that you know about that are in my book that happened to me in cars, I am terrified of driving. And I'm on the highway all the time because just like the highway of the internet, being vulnerable doesn't mean that you're not going to go and do it. You learn, you look at your vehicle, which is your computer or your device or everything that you do, and you make sure that it's in optimal condition. You know all the best practices. You feel empowered at the wheel. And even if you're terrified, you can get from A to B and from A to Z because you believe and you do what you can with what you have from where you are.
Being able to do business online is crucial for survival, especially during times of social distancing. So how do you survive and thrive in the sea of digital noise? It's a lot like fishing. You need to know who your perfect customer is so that you could use the right kind of lure to attract them. We help you catch your perfect customer and retain them for future sales through highly converting websites, influencer mobile apps, getting you featured in the news and on TV. Hi, my name is Jerry Bowden, U.S. Army veteran and president of Revelio Software Solutions. Our goal is to help you rise above the competition, be seen as an expert authority in your industry, and embrace technology to stay competitive for long-term success. It's more affordable than you may think. So reach out to us at revelio.com and together we will make your business come alive.
That is such truth, so much truth there. And that is exactly why the Tech with Heart Network was shown to me that I needed to step up and be this warm place to lead heart-centered entrepreneurs to come in community where we can indeed be there to support one another. And cybersecurity is not my area of expertise, but I know enough about it to be smart. And so we are going to go into tips, but I also want to encourage you. Elayna has written a book and she's purposely now helping people process through the traumas. She is an inspirational leader. She can show you how to turn these traumas into, like feeling like you're a little bit in more control. Like we're in control of what we choose to do with what has happened. So it's not like you get to control your life. You just get to control how you react to life that happens. I love that. So we are going to move now into the segment where we are going to drop some really awesome knowledge bombs for you as far as just things that you can indeed do now that will help prevent you from being easily hacked. In an online world in Web 2.0, which is where we are at, we are all vulnerable, whether we put on so many different security systems, etc. And hacking is at an all-time high with what's going on with Russia, Ukraine. It's just incredible. So take these words, these ideas and do them, but then also know that we are moving towards a more secure network with Web3, with blockchain technology. And I'm really looking forward to it for many reasons, but security is actually at the top of that. So go ahead, let's just drop your acronyms for UNHACKABLE.
Yes, I had fun with this. So I love acronyms. So the U stands for use multi-factor authentication. And what that is the two-step verification that you have the ability to set up on your passwords. And so that, when there you go on social media, you go on your email, and even the authentication on your phone, like put a passcode on your phone or use fingerprinting or facial recognition. So all of those things are going to help you to be more secure. And multi-factor authentication, I always say that it could be something you know, something you have, or something you are. So for example, something you know is like a PIN that you have. Don't use your birthday, your date of birth. Something you have is like a physical key or digital authentication, like an app. There's an app that you can use to authenticate your passwords. And then something you are, like the fingerprinting and the retina scan or the facial recognition on your phone. So that's the you, because that adds kind of a layer of protection on your account on top of your password. The N, I have to remember to spell right. The N is for never, ever sharing your personal information. And this is kind of a tricky one because, you know, as I told you, I'm an influencer online, and every day I'm posting something about my life in there. So you would ask like, oh, you're sharing personal information. So what I mean is really, you can be personable, but not share your personal identifiable information, sensitive information. So I can share things that are, you know, my feelings, my activities. Sometimes I share something not where I am, but where I've been before. So you can't find me there anymore. If you show up, you can, you know, block date of birth from, you know, some people were sharing a vaccination card, or maybe they're sharing their driver's license, that their kid received the driver's license. And that is the type of things that I'm talking about, things that have your date of birth, things that people could use to impersonate you, and also your address, you know, something like that. And I'll give a tip that doesn't have to do with online, but that just came to me. And it's that whenever you throw your mail away or your boxes that get delivered, like just stripping your address from there. So make sure that all of that is safeguarded, and that you're not sharing it on a public forum anywhere. Even by email, just be really careful. The H is for hard to guess password. And when I say password, it's really passphrase, and I'm sure you agree with that, Michelle, because we want to make sure that that we are using a password that, number one, has all of the things: characters, numbers, and characters, you know, like all kinds of symbols and signs, numbers, letters. And, you know, I like to use something that you can remember because it's valuable to you, but instead of an S, put a dollar sign. Instead of an O, put a zero, you know, and play with it and make it a phrase so that it's really long, really strong, and that people cannot get it. And so another thing that I'm thinking about is that you need a different password for everything that you have. And there are, of course, password management softwares that, you know, if you have one passphrase, you can enter with that and they generate passwords for everything else. So that's a really cool thing. But if you don't want to get that, that's fine. Just make sure that you don't have the same password or passphrase everywhere. So that's number 3, which is the H. Excuse me. The A is for avoid public Wi-Fi. So I use my hotspot everywhere, because when you connect to a network that is unsecure, and most Wi-Fi networks that are public are going to do that. I have to take a break there. And you know, I think that we are more vulnerable because we may forget and log into our bank account or use a password, and then that's leaked because people are looking for that. And again, I didn't even know this before this happened to me, but I started empowering myself with this knowledge. So now that we know better, we do better. So this is not to say that, you know, to blame yourself or feel badly if you've done it in the past, but from now on, try to avoid that. The C is for constantly changing your password and not using auto passwords. Auto passwords are the ones that are saved on your browser. So if someone were to get a hold of your device, then they will have instant access for that password. And something else is that if you have a security question, right? Is that what they're called? Security questions. Then use something that is not the actual answer to that security question. So something that you would know that you wrote there, but that it isn't. So, your mom's maiden name is really easy to guess by anybody else, especially if you're having any conversations, any kind of public conversations on social media, or do a quiz. Oh my goodness, those online quizzes, please don't do them. They will ask you those questions, and you won't even know that you're giving them the answers to the security questions that you put on your precious password. So have intentional security answers that are tricky that only you would know. The K is knowing where your devices are at all times. And this is something that happened in my story. Like, I was at home. I didn't have to be watching for my computer, I thought, or for my phone. I didn't have to lock my phone. Those are the thoughts that I had because I didn't know how vulnerable I was in my own home. And that may not be the case for you at home, but it's the case everywhere else. Just make sure that if you're in a public place, if you're in an office, if somebody new comes into the office, it doesn't matter that you know where your device is and that your device has a passcode that only you can get. And some computers like mine, you can use your fingerprint, and that's the only way that people will be able to access it, which is brilliant because you're the only one that has that. The A, and we're running quickly on this because we only have 3 more. The A is for softwares like antivirus, that's the A. Firewalls, I have all of that now, didn't have it before. But the software updates that you install, I always say it like later. I'll do it later. I always postponed it, and now I do them right away. That, prioritizing your updates and also on your apps. So this is not only on your computer software and browser, this is also on your apps, because outdated apps and outdated software, it's actually causing vulnerabilities. That's why they're patching it up. They're sending you a new thing that's better and more secure. So it's for your own protection. I thought that they were just annoying me. And I was just so busy that I needed to do that later. But now I'm very proactive when I do that. The B is for backup. And this is something that I wish I had, and now it's gone, and I'm dealing with my loss. And yet, I'm empowered to know that everything that I'm creating now, everything that I am putting out there, everything is being constantly backed up. I'm not going to be losing my information because it's stored somewhere else. It's not only stored in one place. Only, I have the key to many places where it is. And one of the tips that I learned while all of this was happening is having USBs that, USB drives that have the information backed up. So it's not on the cloud, it's not on your computer, it's on a hard drive, on a different USB that you can plug in at any time. And that also keeps our devices cleaner because we are purging the information. So that I love that one too. And then the L, I got a little creative there, and it's called look twice. And what I mean by that is when you get an email, you look twice to see the sender. I keep getting all these emails that and it's not the princess and the inheritance. Those are kind of obvious now, but it's your purchase was successful. Here's your receipt. This is something that, this is an update that you need to do. Now that I'm into updates and look twice, they trick you, but then you look at the email at the sender, and then you can see the vulnerability there. You can see that there's something off. There's something off. It's not from PayPal. It's not from your bank. It's not from who they say it is. And even if it's from a friend, sometimes the languaging, you will know that they were hacked and that something happened. And that is not only on your email, but also on your Instagram account, DMs, on your Facebook, wherever it is. Just look twice, look at the sender before you click on anything, and try not to click. But if you click on anything, you got to make sure that it's a safe place. That if you're going to enter your information on a website, that it has that little lock, like the padlock on the browser, that it's a secure website. And also, I'm missing one. Yeah, the attachments. Before you download anything whatsoever, make sure that it's a safe attachment. In their software that I spoke about, that's gonna help you scan all of the attachments, and don't download it unless it's scanned, unless you send it to yourself and then it's safe. But if it's coming from somebody else, then make sure it's scanned before you do it. And lastly, the E, it's going to be for enabling the login alerts. So what that means is you're going to get a notification anytime anyone is logged on anywhere. So if I log into Facebook from a new browser, even from my own computer, it's going to tell me somebody logged on to your Facebook at this time from this place using this device. And I will tell you, last month I received 10 notifications within a matter of 5 minutes that someone was trying to hack my account. And I was able to change my password right away, and to also disable login attempts so that nobody could even try to log into my account. And to really, I have so many followers on my Facebook page, so many friends and family that would be vulnerable if I were hacked on my Facebook. And who knows what kind of information. I mean, I'm a person of faith, and I'm very careful with the kind of information that's, put on my social accounts. So who knows what kind of things they were going to put out there. And I was able to stop it just by putting that little thing in place. So now I feel great. I feel unhackable with putting just these very simple and easy things in place. And again, when we are in a network of people that are supportive and that know these things, we can also get their help, because sometimes it feels like it's a lot, but we don't have to do it all at once, and we don't have to do it alone.
Exactly. Well, that was a really super great list of things that we all can indeed do, whether you are tech savvy or not. The acronym is very helpful too. So we'll definitely make sure that we display that properly when we put that blog post out about this, because those are all such really great, realistic, and super easy to apply tips. I also want to just throw this out there that I get a lot of people, see, I am not an IT professional. I am a tech founder. I am a tech savvy entrepreneur. But what I can say is that there are organizations such as GoDaddy's Geek Squad that if you were simply interested in having them help you protect your business or your personal stuff, they'll actually support up to multiple devices in your home, including, for some of us old school guys, printers. We have mobile phones, we have iPads, we have computer systems. They will actually protect all of those devices for an incredibly low annual fee. And then they will come on, and they will come on digitally, or you can take your computer into their place of business and they will do the work that they need to do. But they will provide you with this protective software that will scan those attachments, that will trigger alerts when there's something fishy or spammy, or and Google has done a pretty good job trying to put certain mechanisms in place through their certain systems like Google Drive or your Gmail. So know that there are a lot of things already in place, realizing how easy things were in the old school days were to hack. They're getting harder, but yet the hackers are getting better. And so the system updates is incredibly crucial. They are a pain in the butt, but you do need to go ahead and apply those updates to all the different systems. So like your phone, you'll get an update on your phone. Do it. Just do it. Don't delay, because your phones are little mini computers. Most people still think of them as just phones, but that's not at all the case. They are little mini computers. So you want to protect those. And I love the fact that you brought up not only for your own security, but for the security of your entire network, right? The fact that if you get hacked, then other people are now vulnerable to receive something, but appears as though it's from you, but it's obviously not. It's a phishing link, and phishing is PHISING.
Yeah.
So Geek Squad is a great place to go out. The Tech with Heart Network is a great place within our community. If you have a question, go ahead and pose that question in any of our community forums. And somebody in that community is likely going to be able to share something that they've done that has worked well for them. What you've shared was incredibly valuable. I am now ready for you to share with us how people can reach out to you to either hire you as that inspirational speaker at their next event, talking about, becoming unhackable, or being a mompreneur and just looking at the positive side of processing through trauma. And please share, how can they reach out to you?
Thank you so much, Michelle. I've really enjoyed this conversation. It's been great. And I am at thepositivemom.com. That's my website, thepositivemom.com. And you can reach me at Elayna, Elayna, at thepositivemom.com. But I'm also on all platforms at The Positive Mom. So those are the ways that people can reach me. I'm always online. Fearlessly online, fearlessly unhackable. And I definitely have a heart and a passion and a God-given mission to help people overcome adversity by processing their trauma. And I think that it's completely necessary, but also, like you said, it is important to also be alert, be conscious, and be equipped so that we can avoid the things that are avoidable and preventable in our lives. And it's so beautiful what we can do together.
Yeah, I was just looking at your free gift. Can you just quickly tell them what the free gift is if they go and visit your positivemom.com website?
Yes, so I created the handout with the unhackable tips, and it's a PDF that you can download. And so there will be a link there that you can download it, and it will have your checklist of all the things that you will do to protect yourself and become unhackable online and in your business.
So you're like the diamond of the gem family, and I'm so glad that you're here today. If you could leave our listeners with one thing, you threw at us a lot and it was all good. And luckily this is being recorded and they can listen to this again and again and again. Unless they're on our live radio show. But you know what, go to our techwithheartnetwork.com and you can see her podcast or the video version. What is something that you want listeners to walk away knowing, feeling, resonating with?
Love that. I think that the main thing that I will say is, I know that you're a divine being. I know that you have innate power, that you can and will absolutely overcome anything that's in your way if you know that you're not alone, if you hang on to that divine power that you have, and that you also reach out to other divine beings in this experience. You're not only a human, you're also a daughter or a son of God. That's what I believe. And so you are divine, and that power can be accessed whenever you want.
Thank you for that. You really are bringing this topic to life in a way that just a tech savvy person is not able to, because of the deep and emotional connection and hurt that you've experienced from being hacked. So thank you for showing up here today and for sharing your story and for being vulnerable and then showing us how to help protect ourselves and our business. Listen, if you are listening and you are a business expert that wants to be in a community of like-minded, but yet innovative and forward-thinking, heart-centered entrepreneurs, the Tech with Heart Network probably is a great place for you to hang. We attract all kinds of entrepreneurs, but the goal here is how can we use technology to grow our business while also putting humans first, humanity first in all strategies that we teach. And if you are an expert that wants to be on the Tech with Heart show so that you can provide value and insights back to our entrepreneurial audience, I invite you to come reach out to me to see if you would be a good fit for our show. Just go to techwithheartnetwork.com, reach out to us there, go to techwithheartnetwork.com, join our community, and participate in conversations and discussion groups. We'd love to have you. Thank you so much for tuning in here today. Here is to your success.